My sister mocked me for not having a partner at family dinners. At Easter, her husband arrived late, with lipstick on his collar. She tried to laugh it off. Nobody else did. I'm Emily, 32 years old, female. I'm typing this with my stomach still twisted because last night's Easter dinner finally ripped open something that's been festering for years between me and my sister Claire, 35, female. Claire has always had this way of turning family dinners into her personal stage. Married to Eric, 36, male, suburban golden boy, good job, nice house. She plays the role of settled older sister while I'm the awkward single one. At least, that's how she paints it. Every holiday, without fail, she gets her little digs in. Christmas. Emily, maybe Santa will bring you a boyfriend this year. New Year's. Still no plus one? Don't worry, 2024 might be your year. She says it with that fake laugh-smile combo, pretending it's just teasing. But it's not. It stings. And worse, my parents laugh along, like it's tradition. The truth? I don't bring people home because I don't want them exposed to this circus. Claire has a way of making any man I date feel like an accessory she can size up, compare to Eric, and dismiss. I learned the hard way years ago when she called my then-boyfriend Budget Eric right in front of him. He laughed it off, but I saw the bruise it left. We broke up not long after. So I show up alone. Always. And Claire milks it. I sit there smiling through her jokes, chewing ham like it's cardboard, while she goes on about Eric surprising her with weekend trips, or how their kids have the perfect role model. Last night, though, it shifted. We were halfway through dinner when Eric showed up late. He stumbled in, shirt collar crooked, hair a little too messy for traffic. Everyone looked up at once. That's when I saw it, a smear of bright red lipstick on his collar. And not Claire's shade. She always wears muted pinks, not fire engine red. The room went dead quiet. Forks froze. My dad blinked like maybe he was imagining it. My mom's face drained of color. And Claire? She laughed. Actually laughed. Stood up, reached across the table and said, "Oh, Eric, you silly thing. Always in such a rush, aren't you?" She tugged at his collar like she could just erase it. Like we all hadn't seen it. Nobody laughed with her. Not even the kids. I swear, for the first time ever, Claire looked small. Her voice cracked when she tried again. "It's just makeup from work, right, honey?" Eric didn't answer right away. He just grabbed a plate like nothing happened. I sat there, heart pounding, biting back 10 years of swallowed humiliation. For once, it wasn't me under the spotlight. And God help me, I felt something close to relief. The silence after Eric sat down was thick, heavier than anything I'd felt at one of these dinners. Usually, I was the one swallowing embarrassment, cheeks hot while everyone chuckled at my expense. But this time, all eyes were on Claire. She tried to steer conversation back to the kids, her daughter, Sophie, 8, and son, Max, 5. But the words felt brittle, like glass about to shatter. Sophie just kept staring at her dad with these wide, unblinking eyes, while Max played with the butter knife, blissfully unaware. Eric acted like nothing had happened. He piled ham on his plate, reached for potatoes, poured himself a heavy glass of wine. I couldn't stop staring at that collar, though, the stain like a neon sign screaming in the middle of our prim little Easter table. My mom, Linda, finally broke the silence with this too bright voice. "So, Claire, how's work been? Busy season for you?" It was such a pathetic attempt to redirect, I almost laughed. Claire picked up the thread instantly, grateful for the lifeline. "Oh, hectic, of course, but Eric's been such a rock, helping with the kids, keeping me sane." Her voice wavered. Nobody commented. I noticed something then. My dad, Thomas, cutting his ham into perfect squares but not eating, his jaw tight, his eyes fixed on Eric like he was trying to solve a math problem he already knew the answer to. My dad's always been quiet, the type to let my mom and Claire do the talking, but his silence now felt sharp. Meanwhile, Claire kept glancing at me. Quick, darting looks, like she was daring me to say something. Like she knew that after years of mocking me, I finally had a weapon. And I'll admit it, I toyed with it. My fork hovered over my plate, And I thought about what it would feel like to say, "Not so perfect now, huh?" Or maybe, "Guess I'm not the only one showing up alone these days." The words sat heavy on my tongue, begging to be released. But I didn't. Not yet. Because something about Eric's calm was unsettling. He wasn't nervous. He wasn't embarrassed. He was stone cold, like a man who didn't give a damn that his wife was cracking in front of her family. And that terrified me more than the lipstick. After dinner, while everyone picked at dessert, I caught Eric slipping out to the back porch with his phone. Claire noticed too, her smile frozen mid-laugh as she watched him go. That's when I saw it, her hands trembling around her wine glass, knuckles white. For the first time in my life, I saw my sister afraid. Claire cornered me in the kitchen while everyone else was still lingering over pie. I'd just put my plate in the sink when she came in, closing the door behind her like we were co-conspirators instead of sisters who barely tolerated each other. Her face was flushed, her eyes too bright. She still had her wine glass, half full, and the way her hand gripped the stem, I thought for a second she might smash it just to have something sharp in her hand. "Don't," she hissed. No hello, no preamble, just venom. I played dumb. "Don't what?" Her lips pressed into a thin line. "Don't you dare say a word. You think I didn't see you staring at him?" She jabbed her finger toward the dining room, where Eric's chair sat empty. "This isn't your business, Emily. Keep your mouth shut." Something in me snapped. Maybe it was the years of her mocking me at that same table, smirking while I chewed humiliation along with my dinner. Maybe it was how she always thought she controlled the narrative. But I laughed. Actually laughed in her face. "You've humiliated me for years, Claire," I said, voice low but shaking. "Every holiday, every dinner, every damn family gathering. And now Eric walks in with another woman's lipstick on his collar, and suddenly I'm the threat?" Her cheeks burned red. For a second, I thought she might slap me. Instead, she stepped closer, so close I could smell the sour mix of wine and panic on her breath. "You don't get it," she whispered fiercely. "You don't understand what it's like to be me, to keep this family together, to make everything look perfect. You wouldn't last a day in my shoes." I blinked at her. "Perfect? Claire, your husband is cheating on you. That's not perfection. That's denial." Her hand shot out so fast I didn't see it coming. She slammed her wine glass down on the counter beside me. It shattered instantly, crimson liquid spraying across the white tile, splashing my sweater. My heart lurched. From the dining room, my mom's voice called, "Everything okay in there?" Claire straightened, breathing hard, glass shards glittering at her feet. Then she plastered on that fake, brittle smile I'd seen 100 times before. "All good, Mom. Just dropped a glass." She turned back to me, her voice low again, almost shaking. "Say one word, Emily. One. And I swear you'll regret it." I didn't answer. I couldn't. Because just then, through the kitchen window, I saw Eric on the porch, phone to his ear, smiling. A real smile. The kind I hadn't seen directed at Claire in years. And I knew, deep in my gut, this wasn't going away quietly. I went back to the dining room like nothing had happened. But inside, my pulse was hammering. Claire followed seconds later, smile fixed, like a doll whose strings were being pulled too tight. She sat down, smoothed her dress, and tried to slide back into conversation as if there weren't glass shards still stuck to the bottoms of her shoes. Eric came in from the porch then, slipping his phone into his pocket. He didn't even bother to hide his grin. He kissed Sophie's head, ruffled Max's hair, then sat back down, oblivious to the elephant in the room. Or maybe not oblivious. Maybe he just didn't care. Thomas, my dad, finally spoke, breaking the brittle silence. "Eric," he said evenly, "where were you?" Eric didn't even flinch. "Work call." It was such a lazy lie it made my mom, Linda, choke on her coffee. She covered it with a cough, but I saw the truth in her eyes. She didn't believe him either. Claire jumped in fast, too fast. "Yes, work's been demanding lately. You know how it is. Always something urgent." But nobody was buying it. The kids might have been half distracted with their chocolate bunnies, but the rest of us? We weren't blind. Then Sophie, sweet, brutally honest Sophie, piped up, Daddy, why did that lady kiss you at the store? The whole table froze. Claire's fork clattered against her plate. What? She whispered. Sophie frowned, clearly confused at the reaction. Yesterday, when we went to get your tie, she had red lipstick. She kissed you on the cheek. Eric closed his eyes like he was silently cursing the universe. Claire's face. God, I'll never forget it. She went rigid, like someone had ripped the floor out from under her. Excuse me, she said, voice shaking. She stood, grabbed Sophie by the arm, too rough, and dragged her toward the hallway. The girl yelped, Mom, stop! But Claire didn't care. Claire, Thomas barked, standing halfway. But Claire ignored him, disappearing down the hall with Sophie in tow. Eric just sat there, swirling his wine like he was watching a show. I wanted to scream, to call him out, to comfort Sophie, to do something. But my body wouldn't move. Then Max, 5-year-old Max, with chocolate smeared on his cheeks, looked at me and whispered, Mommy's mad again. Something inside me snapped. I stood up so fast my chair screeched against the floor. This is insane, I said, voice trembling. We can't just sit here like this is normal. Linda's hands flew to her face. Thomas muttered something under his breath. And Eric? He smirked. Actually smirked, like he was daring me to go further. That was the moment I knew. This wasn't just a family dinner gone wrong. This was the start of a war. Update. Wow. I did not expect so many of you to actually care about my messy family Easter, but here we are. I read every single comment last night, some of them twice. Honestly, it felt like therapy with 10,000 strangers who were all way more honest than my actual family has ever been. First off, thank you. Seriously. For years, I thought maybe I was just too sensitive about Claire's digs. That maybe I should laugh along when she called me perpetually single or compared my dates to her husband like they were knockoff handbags. But reading your replies, seeing people call her out for being cruel and insecure, God, it was validating. A lot of you asked what happened after Claire dragged Sophie down the hall. Here's the answer: chaos. Sophie cried so loud you could hear it through the walls. Thomas, my dad, went after them, trying to calm things down. My mom, Linda, just sat there, pale as a ghost, muttering, "Not at the table, not at the table." Like if she repeated it enough, reality would reset. Meanwhile, Eric poured himself another glass of wine and leaned back like he was watching his favorite show. That smug look on his face. I swear I almost threw my dessert plate at him. Eventually, Claire came back, dragging Sophie behind her. Sophie's eyes were red and swollen, and she wouldn't look at anyone. Claire sat down, stared straight at me and hissed, "Happy now." That nearly broke me. Happy? Watching my niece cry while her parents pretended their marriage wasn't burning to the ground? Watching my sister unravel while the man she worships smirked like a cat with a canary in his teeth? No. Not happy. Furious. And here's the thing some of y'all said that stuck with me. Claire picked this battlefield. She humiliated me in front of the family for years, knowing I wouldn't fight back. But now? Now she's the one bleeding in public. And I don't think I can stay quiet anymore. Some of you suggested I should just let the whole thing implode on its own. That Eric will dig his own grave, and Claire will collapse under the weight of her lies. Maybe that's true. But part of me, the angry, petty part that's been swallowing her jokes for a decade, wants to twist the knife, not with lies, not with rumors, just with the truth, at the exact moment she can't spin it. Because after last night, I realized something. Claire's biggest fear isn't Eric cheating. It's everyone knowing that the perfect life she's shoved in my face is actually a cracked facade. So yeah, I think I'm done protecting her. And Easter might have been the spark. But I'm already planning the fire. I barely slept after Easter. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Sophie's face, red and blotchy, her small hand yanked by Claire's iron grip, and Eric's smirk. That smug, lazy grin that said he'd already won before anyone else had even realized there was a game. By Monday, I'd made up my mind. If Claire wanted to mock me for being single, fine. But if she thought she could keep parading her perfect family while her husband strutted around in someone else's lipstick, not anymore. Here's the thing. Claire lives for appearances, family dinners, social media posts of the kids in matching outfits, little holiday brag reels. She'll spend an hour editing a picture of her Easter ham before posting it with a caption like, "Tradition is love served warm." She needs the image more than oxygen. So that's where I decided to strike. I didn't plan anything too wild at first, just petty. I went through the pictures my mom, Linda, had taken on Easter. Sure enough, there it was. Eric at the table, clear as day, with the faint red smear on his collar. Not glaring, but visible if you looked. My mom had posted it on her Facebook with a generic caption about family time. Nobody had noticed yet. I saved it, cropped it, zoomed in just enough. Then I remembered something else. Sophie's slip about the lady at the store. Kids don't invent that stuff. She'd seen it. And Claire, instead of protecting her, had dragged her away like she was the problem. That's when the idea hit me. If Claire was going to weaponize my single status for laughs, I was going to weaponize the truth she was terrified of. I started small. A group text with just me, my mom, and my dad. "Hey, did either of you notice Eric's collar in the Easter pics?" I cropped one. "Look." I attached the zoomed-in shot. My mom responded instantly, "Emily, don't stir the pot." My dad's reply came minutes later. "I saw it in person. He's lying." That was all I needed, confirmation. The real move, though, was waiting for Claire's weekly Family Friday Instagram post. Every week, like clockwork, she uploaded a carousel of pictures. The kids, Eric pretending to grill, her smug smile with a glass of wine. She used hashtags like grateful, blessed, family first. And Friday morning, she posted exactly that. This week's caption: "After a beautiful Easter with the best husband and kids a woman could ask for." My fingers hovered over my phone, heart pounding. I knew if I did what I was about to do, there'd be no going back. But then I thought of Sophie, of Max whispering, "Mommy's mad again," of Claire sneering at me every holiday like she was untouchable. So I hit reply under her picture, public, for everyone to see. Interesting. Didn't know the best husband was shopping with ladies who wear red lipstick. Sophie sure remembers it, and so do we. Family secrets. Within minutes, the notifications started blowing up. And for the first time in years, it wasn't me in the hot seat. It was Claire. The fallout was instant. Within an hour of my comment, Claire had deleted her entire Easter post. Not just the picture of Eric at the grill, but all of it. Gone. But by then, the damage was done. Screenshots were already circulating in the family text chains, and my cousin Rachel had DM'd me. "Holy crap, did you really just call Claire out in public?" By that evening, Claire was pounding on my apartment door. Not knocking, pounding. When I opened it, she shoved her way inside, red-faced, hair wild, like she hadn't slept since Easter. "You ruined me," she screamed, voice cracking. "Do you even realize what you've done?" I shut the door slowly, heart pounding, but I refused to back up. "No, Claire, Eric ruined you. I just stopped covering for it." Her hands were shaking as she pointed at me, like she wanted to claw my face off but couldn't quite commit. "You're jealous. That's what this is. You've always been jealous of me, my marriage, my house, my kids, so you wait until Easter to destroy it all." "Jealous?" I laughed bitterly. "Of what? A husband who cheats in broad daylight? A daughter you terrify into silence? A son who whispers that mommy's always mad?" "Yeah, Claire, sounds like a dream." That's when she snapped. She grabbed the photo frame off my entryway table, a picture of me with our late grandma, and hurled it against the wall. The glass exploded, shards scattering across the hardwood. I froze. My throat tightened. That picture had survived every move, every broken holiday. It was the one thing of hers I kept by my door. "Get out," I said, my voice low, dangerous. But Claire wasn't leaving. She started pacing, grabbing things at random, my throw pillow, a candle, the remote control, throwing them down, not even looking where they landed. Tears streaked her mascara, leaving dark rivers on her cheeks. "You don't understand," she screamed. "Eric is all I have. If people think he's cheating, they'll laugh at me. They'll know I failed." I snapped back. They already know, Claire. You're just too scared to admit it. That broke her. She collapsed onto my couch, sobbing so hard her whole body shook. I wanted to feel sorry for her. But then my phone buzzed. It was a text from Thomas, our dad. Claire and Eric are blowing up my phone. Stay strong. You told the truth. And in that moment, watching her unravel on my couch, I realized something chilling. Claire wasn't going to forgive me. Not ever. If she couldn't control Eric, she'd try to control me. And judging by the way she was gripping the edge of my couch cushion like she might tear it in half, I knew she wasn't done yet. Update 2. Okay. I didn't expect this to get worse, but it did. And I need to vent before I lose my mind. So after my last post, where I told you all about commenting under Claire's Easter picture, things escalated. I thought maybe she'd just sulk, block me, or send some nasty texts. Nope. She showed up at my apartment like a hurricane in heels. She screamed. She broke a photo of me with our grandma. She threw stuff around like a toddler having a tantrum. At one point, she collapsed on my couch, sobbing that if people think Eric is cheating, then she's the failure. Not him. Her. That floored me. Years of mocking me for being single, but the second her perfect family cracks, she can't even process it. She doesn't care about Eric sneaking around. She cares about people knowing. And honestly, that makes me angrier than the cheating itself. I didn't tell her this, because she was already borderline unhinged, but I got texts from my dad, Thomas, basically telling me to hold my ground. He's sick of Eric too, sick of Claire's show at every holiday. My mom, Linda, is pretending nothing happened, classic her, but even she's not defending Eric out loud anymore. Oh, and the internet has spoken. My DMs are a war zone. Half of you are saying I should have stayed out of it, that I blew up a marriage I had no business in. The other half? Cheering me on like I lit the match at a bonfire. One person wrote, Claire weaponized your loneliness for years. You just weaponized the truth. Fair play. That one. Yeah, that one hit. But here's where it gets bad. I'm pretty sure Eric knows it was me who stirred the pot, and he's not embarrassed. He's pissed. My cousin texted me screenshots from his private Facebook. Yes, he still uses Facebook like a boomer, where he's whining about someone in the family trying to destroy us. He didn't name me, but come on, who else would it be? So now I've got Claire spiraling, Eric gunning for me, and 2 little kids caught in the crossfire. Sophie looked me in the eyes at Easter like she wanted me to do something, and I can't shake that. And maybe this is just me still riding the adrenaline of finally standing up to Claire, but I don't feel done. Not yet. Some of y'all told me to let them self-destruct, that Eric will hang himself with his own rope. Maybe you're right. But part of me wants to make sure he doesn't just drag Claire down. He gets exposed for what he is, in a way nobody can ignore or spin. If Claire thinks I'm the villain now, maybe I should lean into it. Because after years of swallowing humiliation, I have to admit, watching her world crack for once felt damn good. Eric didn't wait long to make his move. 3 nights after Claire's meltdown in my apartment, I came home from work to find my car keyed. Long, deliberate scratches carved deep into the paint on both doors. My stomach dropped because I knew instantly who it was. Eric. He wasn't subtle either. Stuffed under my windshield wiper was a folded piece of paper with 4 words scrawled in block letters. Keep your mouth shut. My hands shook as I picked it up. It wasn't even about the car. I can deal with repairs. It was the message. The reminder that Eric didn't see me as family. He saw me as a threat. I called Thomas, told him what happened. His sigh on the other end was heavy. I'll handle it, he said. But his voice was tired, defeated, like he knew Eric was beyond handling. The next day, I woke up to my phone blowing up. Turns out Eric had gone full smear campaign. He posted this long rant on Facebook about certain family members spreading lies to destroy marriages and jealousy poisoning bloodlines. He never named me, but everyone knew. Cousins were DMing me screenshots, asking if it was true. Claire added fuel by commenting, "Sad how some people can't stand to see others happy." Happy? I nearly laughed myself sick. Her husband is parading around with lipstick stains. Her daughter is traumatized. She smashed my photo of grandma, and she still thinks happiness is about saving face online. That night, I got another taste of just how far Eric would go. I woke at 2 a.m. to banging on my apartment door. Loud, angry, relentless. My heart jumped into my throat. I didn't even have to look through the peephole. I knew. Eric. His voice was slurred, but his words cut through the wood. You think you're smart, Emily? You think you're better than me? Say one more thing and see what happens. He pounded again, rattling the frame. I grabbed my phone and called the police. By the time they arrived, Eric was gone, but the damage was done. I barely slept, every creak in my apartment making me jump. The next morning, my mom, Linda, called me in tears. Emily, can't you just stop? For the kids? You're tearing the family apart. For the kids. Those were her exact words. Not a word about Eric's cheating. Not a word about Claire's violence in my apartment. Not even a word about him threatening me in the middle of the night. Just me tearing the family apart. That's when something in me hardened. Because if nobody else was going to protect Sophie and Max, then I would. And I wouldn't do it with whispers or half hints. I'd do it the same way Claire had mocked me for years, publicly, where nobody could twist the story. And I already had the perfect plan. I waited for the perfect stage. Claire had built her reputation around family gatherings, around being the one with the flawless house, the flawless kids, the flawless husband. And the biggest stage of all? My parents' upcoming barbecue, an annual thing, with half the extended family invited. She'd been bragging about it for weeks, planning matching outfits for Sophie and Max, even hinting about making a big announcement with Eric. I showed up early. My stomach was twisted in knots, but my mind was clear. I wasn't going to scream or cry or beg people to believe me. I was going to show them. When everyone was settled, drinks in hand, food on plates, Claire clinked her glass for attention. She stood beside Eric, who was stiff and stone-faced, holding Max's hand like a prop. Sophie stood off to the side, eyes down, like she already knew what was coming. Claire launched into her speech. Family is everything, she said, beaming. And I'm so lucky to have a husband who shows me what true love and commitment looks like every single day. That was my cue. I pulled out my phone, connected it to the Bluetooth speaker my dad always used for music, and hit play. The audio that filled the backyard was crystal clear. Eric's voice. From that night, he came banging on my door. Slurred, angry, venomous. You think you're smart, Emily? You think you're better than me? Say one more thing and see what happens. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Claire froze, wineglass trembling in her hand. Eric's face went pale, then red. And then came the second track. A video, actually, pulled straight from a security camera at the store Sophie had mentioned. It showed Eric leaning down as a woman in a red dress kissed his cheek, her lipstick leaving a vivid smear. And Sophie, right there beside him, looking confused and small. Silence. Utter silence. Claire's face crumpled. That's not... But it was too late. Everyone had seen. Everyone had heard. Eric lunged at me, furious, but Thomas, my dad, was faster. He stepped in front of me, shoving Eric back with a force I'd never seen from him. Get out, Thomas barked, his voice steady, unyielding. You're done here. Eric tried to sputter excuses, but the family wasn't listening. Cousins were whispering, aunts shaking their heads, kids staring wide-eyed. The perfect mask Claire had worn for years was gone, shattered, beyond repair. And me? I didn't gloat. I didn't smirk. I just stood there, calm, while Claire's empire of appearances burned down around her. The sweetest part? Sophie slipped her hand into mine as Eric stormed out, dragging Claire behind him. She looked up at me, eyes watery but steady, and whispered, "Thank you." That was it. That was all I needed. For once, Claire wasn't the star of the show. The truth was, and no one could laugh that off.